Hello there and Salam Alaikum. You're watching Picture This New Media, and today I will be going over the Rings of Power again. Season 1, Episode 6, because every time I try to live stream a review of Rings of Power, YouTube gets mad at me and either holds my video hostage, or in this last case only showcases the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds of my hour-long video. So I'm gonna try to go through this as fast as possible. I know I say that every time, but we'll see. We'll get through this. We'll get through this. Take 2. Let's go. Season 1, Episode 6, Udun. More like Udum. Very, very, very dumb. As dumb as that intro was. Tell you what's not dumb is their intro. I love their intro, and I will say that every time. Their intro is really cool. Really, really cool, and that's where most of their money went to, besides the 20 producers. So yeah, I really like that intro. And there's a scene right here where Adar is talking to his people, his orcs, and none of the orcs are wearing armor. It's a little thing I'd like to mention. He does the thing where he puts the seed in the dirt, and says this little elf thing because he's still half elf, and even though he's planning to blot out the sun, so I don't know what good those seeds are gonna do. So yeah, he makes a speech. He gets all the orcs happy and raging and everything, and it's what's funny is he calls them brothers and sisters, but he in this speech, but he refers to them as his children all the time. So I don't know if that's a thing from the writers or
unnamed slaves in faraway lands, but as brothers and sisters in our home.
And right there, I like to if you just missed it, there's a little scar on the side of his head. That's where Sauron, corrupted him and literally dug into his brain. So that was a nice little touch that they had there. I'll give him props on that. I won't give him props on this costume design. They look cool, but it's not for battle. These skull things aren't going to protect you. These leather armor is alright, but it's got no protection on these legs. Like, everybody's legs are exposed. It makes no sense. It makes no sense from a battle perspective, and I don't think the creators have a general knowledge of what battles are supposed to look like, or what a military might is supposed to look like, or numbers. I don't think they have a thing on numbers, because a bunch of orcs die, a bunch of humans die, but it looks like there's a bunch of orcs left over and a bunch of humans left over. It's really weird. So we cut to the scene where what would be a good idea is to fortify this tower, blow up this bridge, and basically make it inaccessible to them, for the orcs to get to them, and they would have to go at least 100 miles around, or really dangerous swim and a dangerous climb, or they would have to rebuild the bridge, which would take a lot of time, and in that time they can run away, or they could attack them from that advantage, the high ground, and disturb them while they are trying to rebuild the bridge, and basically make it impossible, nearly impossible. But no, they abandon it. Let Adar walk through the front door, and they take over the place like they own it. Yeah, silly. And they leave Erendir behind, and he's like, I can smell him.
Here is Mumu.
Yes, father.
He gives away his position and shoots these two guys, and then he lights this up and shoots this one rope that holds up this fortification on this tower. Now I don't know if this was meant to be a trap. They don't give a nice little trivia here. But I don't know if this is meant to be a trap or if this is just the way it was built, and if this is the way it was built, it is an insult to elves, which they have insulted the elves already and on many of fronts on this Rings of Power travesty. So yeah, like I said, it destroys the tower somehow with this one rope, and he gets out of dodge, and he has to stand there like a badass, and he's like a mathematical genius. He knows where the rocks are gonna fall, and he moves little homeless homie out of the way, Waldreg, and you know, just dodges it like a badass. And then they cheer, and they're all watching from out here, and then they say, come on, we have to make ready the village. No, you need to get out of there. You need to go. This would have been a good idea if you just kept going, or if you had defended the thing. But if you see this, there's this all valley. They got one road to there. There's a choke point, but that's not really a choke point because it's just one bridge, and they can walk over it on this side. They have trees on this side, trees on that side. They have the high ground, and later on they say they have the advantage. Now the Númenóreans are coming on their 3 ships, and they have this weird pointless scene where Isildur wakes up and he shares an apple with a horse. Like, literally shares an apple with a horse. Everybody's memeing on this one. He bites it, gives it to the horse, and bites it himself. Yummy. Delicious. And then, instead of giving the rest of it to the horse, he does that with that.
I thought all
Throws it
soldiers
away.
were to be abed,
Me, Commander. I was only...
hoping to get the first sight of land.
Then he gets a little nice talk with Galadriel where she talks for him. How nice of her. And she, you know, basically gloats about her eyesight and says, I can see land already and you can't, haha.
Swinging steel, no flying sail.
And then she gives him a lesson on humility by asking what rank
What is
he's
your
in.
rank?
Stable sweep.
Despise not the labor which humbles the heart.
Yeah, she shouldn't be talking about being humble. I think she is basically projecting herself on other people in this scene, or the writers are projecting themselves on to Isildur. That she says that he looks like his father, says the mother, and then the dad is creepily watching behind.
Soldier.
Creepily watching behind, comes up, tells him to bounce. And Galadriel asks about the mom and
Most
what
of my
happened to
life
her.
I've looked east to see the sun rise over the sea.
We get this
From west, to see it set over the land.
long-winded
We're
BS,
sailing into the dawn, and yet to me,
and then he does
it
this.
feels like the coming of night.
He does this absolute mic drop.
She drowned.
Okay. The sea is always right, right? The sea is always right. Then we cut to the scene where they're copying the Lord of the Rings with the one ring where they're trying to destroy it, and exactly what the elf, or not the elf, the dwarf did, and broke his hammer even, his war hammer on the ring, and they just copy it here, and even the line, they even copy the line, not word for word, but they copy the line. It's so poorly done. Oh no! I'm so mad.
Beyond our skill to destroy.
They start gearing up, and we hear this wonderful, rousing speech by Arendir and Bronwyn.
Our position gives us an advantage.
No, it doesn't. It does not give you the advantage you think. No, it doesn't. You had the advantage at the actual keep. They're going to refer to the tavern as the keep, and then we get this scene where it looks so forced, and they don't look in love, and like in the past episodes they kind of look like they had some chemistry, but all that chemistry is gone in this scene. Like, he gives her the seeds and tells them it's an elven tradition, and
One of the Valar
this just looks like
watches over.
a Broadway play, like, gone really bad, and they don't look in love. They look like they're about to start singing right now. It's not good. It's not a good scene. It's not the scene they thought it was gonna be. I forgot to tell you, they hide the sword. After he attempts to break the sword, he hides it, and he hides it in a dumb place. So they start coming in, and everybody's getting prepared. They're hiding behind these brick fortifications that they built out of nowhere. They come across this stupid little bridge where they could go on either side. I don't understand why they're not the exact tactical geniuses either, apparently, according to the show. And they bring on a baby-sized battering ram for their little baby doors, and they start going from house to house. Bronwyn has trouble lighting her little flint, and she can't get the cart on fire to get her little trick in. So Orcman goes up there, and instead of, lighting the cart, she stabs him in the foot, gets her friend killed, and then of course she saves the day, kinda, even though her friend died. And then she uses his torch to enact her genius plan of entrapping like 50 people, 50 orcs, in fire that's like, they do it on both sides. And look, they show it very well because they show it really fast, because look at, they could even see the track lines. It's so funny. Basically this little fire wall is kickable, and they can walk over it, but it distracts them long enough to get rained arrows upon, and they just take it out. And I'll just say, Arendir's bow stance is very pretty, very, very beautiful. And here we go, we've got a boss fight. I don't know why this guy doesn't have any weapons, and I don't know why he doesn't just snap his neck, or why he just keeps throwing him over and over and over again. Like, see that? And then he starts getting his butt kicked. He gets smashed from there, thrown around some more. He gives him a piggyback ride for some weird reason, and then the orc realizes, oh, I could just throw you again, because that's what I've been doing this entire time. And he starts choking him out. Never mind, he could basically snap his neck here. And oh yeah, he gets a twig in his eye, and he pulls it out, and he uses it to freak him out. He's screaming blood on him. It's a real gross freak out moment. He can close his mouth. He can move his head left to right, but he chooses not to. The plot armor is amazing with Arondir. Gooey chocolate sauce. YouTube censors that chocolate sauce. And then, lo and behold, she's saved by Bronwyn, and it looked like even Bronwyn was a little shocked that she saved him. Everybody thinks that they won, and then they start realizing that they were fighting their own, and which I don't really think they should care very much, because they switch sides, so kind of like screw them anyways. Like, I wouldn't care. They're trying to kill me, so they're just like any other enemy, right? They're just like the orcs. They're siding with the orcs, so why not? They say you gotta pay the toll, and nope, that was kind of funny. That made me giggle. It wasn't supposed to be funny, but it made me giggle. Like the troll toll. It was really that's what it reminded me of. And then all that advantage, the hiding of the trees I told you about before, the orcs take advantage of it, so they weren't as dumb as I thought they were. They gotta send the dumb people first, and then the smart people are hidden. They start taking out the people, the villagers left and right. That guy looked like a really bad play death. Good job, Peter Tate. Your death scene was perfect. Oh, you might not have died, I'm not sure. Then Bronwyn gets hit by 2 arrows, one right there, and then one in the back. But then when she's carried away, she only has 1 arrow in her. See, 1 arrow. Then they go to the keep, the tavern, and the orcs kind of leave him alone for a while. It's really weird. They leave him alone, so basically they can pull out this dramatic scene where she's losing an enormous amount of blood. Like, there's so much blood gushing out of here. I don't want to, like, maybe possibly get censored for this, so I'm not gonna play this, but you can see that there's blood there, and just imagine that, but like The Shining, you know, everywhere. It's just pouring out of her, and they mix some of the blood with some of the seeds that she had. So she guess she didn't plant them, but they put it in her thing, because remember, she's a healer, so she knows what she's doing. Then they get a stick from the fire, and not a metal poker, a stick from the fire that's got you know, char on it, and then they use that to cauterize her wounds, right? They use that to cauterize her wounds. I'll risk a little bit of it. There's the seeds, and then there's the burnt stick. Jeez, that's a lot of blood.
Go on.
Okay, yeah, it made me wince a little bit. So, yeah, that's enough. They do that once, not on both sides, I think. I'm not sure. And she passes out. Everybody thinks she's dead, and I'm genuinely thinking, you know, I'm not glad that she's dead, but I'm genuinely thinking that we have a Game of Thrones moment here. Like, they're not scared to kill off a main character. Good job. Good job, Rings of Power. Nope. Of course not. Of course not. She's okay. Everything's okay. And then the orc starts yelling non-pot just in the nick of time. Adar comes, and then we get a nice little glimpse of the Númenóreans coming, and then they're slow motion capture. They're 3D printed horses. They really love that slow motion, don't they? And then there's a lot of people saying that this is 3D printed armor. I think it looks like cheap pleather, but who am I to I'm no costume designer, but it does look cheap, and they should have painted it. I'll give them that. They should have painted it. They should have golded that stuff up, because they're all blinged out. I mean, why not? Go all out. This looks cheap. This really does look cheap. I mean, they couldn't afford a couple of cans of spray paint. I don't know. They could have prettied that up a little bit. Galadriel's not smiling for once on a horse. Her horse looks really happy though. I didn't notice that before, but her horse looks happy. So just recognize that the time of day this is. As Adar comes in, look at the door open. You can see that's definitely night. And if you look at some of the scenes before that, whenever he's coming into the door, I don't think I'm gonna be able to show it. Yeah, you can clearly see it's still dark. Adar's teasing him, like, where's the hilt? Give me the hilt, man. You know, you're not gonna sacrifice all these people's lives for this little piece of equipment, this MacGuffin, are you? And then he gives up his thoughts. He's like, let the people go and I'll consider it. Oh, you care about the people now, do you? Okay. I got that. I got your people right here. There's your people. There's my negotiating skills. And I really like this scene. I really do. And Arondir has to destroy it with this little women, children, and then he goes like, what response is that? And then of course they're gonna go for her, and then Theo's like, hey, remember I heard you earlier. I know where it is. And so look carefully what Adar's doing. Once he's given the sword hilt wrapped in cloth, he checks what it is. Make sure that's what it is. Oh my god, look, he's happy. Just remember that for later. So now it is daytime, right? That 4-minute scene, it's now dawn. It's now the break of dawn. And Galadriel and her forces are coming. Yeehaw! Old Broomhead comes, makes his appearance in his moob armor. Everybody has moob armor. It's a little distracting. And then Galadriel does what she was, well, Morfydd Clark does what she was always meant to do. I bet you she learned this whenever she got a pony when she was like 15 years old and did side saddling tricks and learned all this stuff, and she's like, now is my time to shine. Yeah. And I didn't know that this was Galadriel the first time I saw this. I thought that orc hit somebody and that person died and they're just hanging off the horse like but no, it's Galadriel. Once I figured it out, I laughed so hard. She was 5 feet away, like 5-6 feet away from him, but she still has enough power to make his head explode. Yeah, alright. So they try to recreate the scene in Lord of the Rings where Isildur comes to the rescue of his dad. Never mind, all his friends are dying and he's not doing anything to help them. Right before he comes to save his dad, he basically gets cucked by Halbrand, and not Sauron. In his moob armor as well, but it's brown. So yeah, he's like, yeah, Father, I'm alright. She goes after him. I forgot to mention that in the beginning, he Adar does a little conversation with the barkeep guy, the one that traded to Sauron. The one's like, do you know who Sauron is, boy? Like to Theo. Yeah, he talks to him right before, and then Arendir tells Galadriel, you know, he must not escape with his MacGuffin. He has it. That's their leader. Theo gets all excited. There goes more of her little pony tricks. And then Arendir calls her Galathiel. It's Galathiel now. So all this time, Theo's gonna know her as Galathiel. Then they try to recreate. Okay, and Sauron. I mean Halbrand. So okay, I keep messing up. Halbrand notices Galadriel chase after him and chases after them. Right. Then they try to recreate the Nazgul chasing scene that she even does. They even do the whole whispering in the horse's ear to make it faster. And this chase scene is so boring. If it weren't for this dramatic, epic fantasy music, it would be boring. Like this. Like here, listen. Clack, 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 whoosh, whoosh, clack, 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 and then Halbrand comes out of nowhere, right field, and like literally right field, and stops him, and then the director just wants to make you sure that to show you that the horse is okay. He gets up. He's fine. Good horsey. Adar obviously recognizes Halbrand. Halbrand obviously recognizes Adar. Right, there we go. Galadriel stops him.
We need him alive.
And just remember that scene, right? Galadriel talks to Adar in this little, you know, interrogation scene. She figures out that he's an elf, and one of the first ones he refers to be called by the pronoun Uruk.
Form of life.
And
Sons of the dark.
We prefer
right there she asks him, you know, where's Sauron? And he's not saying shit. So she hears the orcs and she says,
Perhaps we should bring our prisoners into the sunlight.
oh, so that changes Adar's mind, and he gives this speech about Sauron. He basically says that he was making the orcs, kept on screwing up, and just made all these different things, different orcs, and he kept on making Adar make these orcs, and he got sad seeing his children tortured, so he killed Sauron and dipped with his orcs.
We cannot believe an Uruk.
So yeah, she says, you can't believe an orc, Uruk, could kill Sauron, right? And she says, I don't believe you. So she says this really, really horrible thing to him. It sounds on the borderline psychotic and a little bit torturous and a little bit evil. She says,
Your kind was a mistake.
your kind was a mistake.
Made in mockery. And even if it takes me all of this age, I vow to eradicate every last one of you.
Ouch. Ouch.
You shall be kept alive. So that one day, before I drive my dagger into your poisoned heart, I will...
Morgoth could not make real new things of his own. He could only corrupt and twist that already existed. I think we should change that to Amazon could not make real new things of his own. He could only corrupt and twist what already existed. Rings of power are merely a mockery of Tolkien. Well, anyways, she goes on with her torture.
whisper in your picant ear. all your offspring are dead. And the scourge of your kind ends with you.
That's our hero, everybody, Galadriel. She wants to eradicate an entire race or species, or whatever you want to call them, out of existence, and keep one alive to see them all die, and then whisper in that last person's ear, all of your children are dead, all of your people are dead. That's our hero. That's who we're supposed to root for, guys. That's who it is. Probably.
Perhaps your search for Morgoth's successor should have ended in your own mirror.
Then he drops a little truth bomb on her and says what we've all been telling this Galadriel, that, you know, you're pretty freaking evil yourself. You're just like Morgoth. And then she changes her mind instantly and calls him out of his respective pronouns. I shall begin by killing you, slavering orc. And then he gets stopped. You know, Uruk corrects his her pronoun mistake. And then just to be a little petty, she nicks him anyways, cuts him anyways. After Halbrand tells him, no, don't kill him. You know, just like how she stopped him earlier. Our hero, everybody. And then we get the most forced love scene, shipping scene imaginable. I'm not even gonna play it. It's that bad. It's just, yeah. I felt good killing people with you. Me too. You can see that there's no chemistry between them. Neither of them change their face. Neither of them look like they even like each other. They just look like, alright, let's get the scene over with. Queen Regent comes with her same acting face that she's had throughout the thing. She has very little range, and whenever she looks scared, which you'll see later, it looks like she's basically just like lost all of her money gambling and is trying to hide it from her husband. She's like, man, I shouldn't have done that. I drank too much. I farted. Like, I don't know. I probably look just as funny doing that. But yeah, it's a little funny. She congratulates Bronwyn for doing absolutely nothing, and then says, you're gonna be relieved of your post, because this man over here, this white man, is gonna take your position. So very anti-progressive of Amazon here. So I thought that they would keep this woman in post, but nope, she's gonna get replaced by a big white man. That's possibly Sauron. Get this really cringy scene right here. I'll play it for you because I had to watch it.
Are you the king we were promised?
Long dramatic pause. Everybody looking, waiting for the answer, like he's not gonna say yes.
Yes.
What would they have done if he said no? Everybody gets all happy, they're all yay, and then again with the drinks. Like, they just have a bartender on the, they probably had a bartender on the ship. What I liked about the Lord of the Rings and previous adaptations is everybody kind of looks sort of different, other than the clothes and the armor. If the Númenóreans weren't wearing armor, they would just look like the Southlanders. They would look exactly like the Southlanders. You know, dwarves, red hair, short. White. Hobbits, white, and brunette and blonde. Maybe some redheads, but they're all white. Numenorians, a little bit of color, but mostly white. Tall giants, giant men, very tall people. Southlanders, we didn't get a taste of that before, but I'd imagine they would look like similar to this, but not Asian. I'm just saying, they probably wouldn't be an Asian there. I know I'm being a little nitpicky, but it's just casting problems. You need to make it look how it was back then and not represent how the world is today. The point of fantasy is to escape reality, hence the name fantasy. The blade is passed over from person to person to person to person, and he's like obviously saying he's got an addiction to the blade because he says this line.
Powerful.
Whenever he was in possession of the blade, right? So what do? He tells him to get rid of it once and for all by giving it to him. And Theo does the unimaginable. I can't believe he did this. Why would he do this? You know, why? Shouldn't he just trust that the elves that had this before wouldn't do him dirty? But lo and behold, he gets done dirty. It isn't the hilts. It isn't the hilts. And remember when I told you that the bar guy, do you know who Sauron is? Guy talked with Adar before the chase scene started. Well, yeah, they should have followed him, because he activates the blade and uses it as a key. Right? And what this key does is it moves the stone. And what does that stone do? It makes the river jiggle. And it moves another stone. All that blood, hilt, key, sword, that MacGuffin was to move a stone to flood a dam, to move a stone on a dam. And what this mechanism was before the trenches were built, I don't know what it was for. Maybe it was as a last defense to flood the surrounding areas with water to prevent an attack. That's the logical thing I could think of. But if the trenches weren't dug, like what would this be for? I don't know. So the trenches are dug for this reason, for this exact purpose, to guide this body of water that they knew was going to drop there. They start chanting Udun. He puts his head on the ground to hear his master plan, and for some crazy reason, he disappears later. I don't know. I think teleportation's a thing in this because Halbrand used it to teleport to take on Adar, and then later on, I don't know, maybe Adar watches a lockpicking lawyer and just lockpicked himself out of there real quick. Goes into Mount Doom, right? And scientifically speaking, this I don't think is possible because from what I've read, that there needs to be a closed chamber and there needs to be pressurized, so the volcano would literally have to be closed off and the water would have to be added and pressurized, and then the explosion happens. Not add water, magma, boom. I don't think volcanoes explode without pressurization. but I could be wrong. So it starts raining hell and fire. The orcs start relieving themselves of the chains, and everybody's dying. Galadriel just stands there, and she had to explain this, and even her explanation made no sense. And this, honestly, the slow motion did a disservice, because you could see everybody's acting faces. See there, I told you about Queen Regent's face. She doesn't really look scared. She looks like she's forced to be scared. Maybe Arondir is like the only one that kind of looked a little scared. This guy over here, he looks like Forrest Gump. This guy right here, he looks like Forrest Gump, the Forrest Gump scene, basically. See him running. Yeah, the slow motion doesn't do anybody service in this. And Galadriel closes her eyes. Fire eaten. And yeah, that does it for this review of the Rings of Power, Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. I don't even like calling it the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, just the Rings of Poop. Season 1, Episode 6. If you're still watching, I give it a 4 out of 10, and I only give it a 4 out of 10 because of Adar. Adar basically carries this whole episode. And something actually happens in this episode. It took 6 episodes, but something actually happens. And I'll give that credit. I'll give the other credits before and in the review. So yeah, we'll just leave it at that. 4 out of 10. Thanks so much for watching. Assalamu alaikum, and have a great rest of your day.